Before we begin, I would like to invite our listeners to a presentation I will be giving for the American Society of Dowsers on Tuesday, October 19 at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The title of the presentation is Attracting Synchronicities, Breaking the Cycle of Emotional Attachments. The presentation will be held on Zoom, and registration is $20 for people who are not members of the American Society of Dowsers, but if you decide to become a member, registration is free. The presentation will take about 45 minutes, followed by a Q&A where you will have the opportunity to ask me questions. I hope you can join me. And now for today's podcast. Welcome to High Vibes. I am your host, Bill G, with co-host Nina G. At High Vibes, we're looking into what it means to be a fourth dimensional being in an ever-changing world. We hope that by listening to this podcast, you can feel a greater sense of peace and connection as we collectively raise our energetic vibration to the next level. And now for today's podcast. Hello and welcome to
High Vibes.
I'm Bill G and I'm here with Nina. And today we're going to continue with our frequency upgrades. Just so you, as a reminder of what a frequency upgrade is, a frequency upgrade is a form of Akashic dowsing that exists outside of space-time, so that anyone listening to the upgrade will receive its benefits no matter where or when you choose to listen to it. How this works is that just before the podcast, I douse a program or condition that High Self decides that you, our listener, needs to hear right at this moment, at this point in time. And Nina and I will then provide you with some of our interpretation of what High Self is trying to say to us. And then I lead you through a brief guided meditation where we do the clearing work. So for today's dowsing, we went to the SRT charts, again to the Abraham-Hicks Emotional Scale chart, and again, our good friends over at the Time Temple charts. And so this is going to be very exciting for you because I think it's very pertinent to what's going on in the world today and how we relate to it. So the first was a SRT program consisting of 3 charts. And the first one was Light Energy Discord from the Creating the Illusion chart. From the fine-tuning chart, we have Unwillingness to Let Go of Old Beliefs. And from chart 19, called How to Change Your Life, we have Working on Goals. So right after I did this program here, my first impression here was that we're talking about seeking a new paradigm, a different way of looking at life.
Many of you might be looking at like protesting.
Yeah.
Or just getting, maybe you're getting all fired up and you want to do something about the current situation, whether it's with the government or whether it's with a smaller issue. There's many smaller issues going on around and bigger ones too.
Right.
And this kind of speaks to that, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Because when we do a protest or when we are saying nasty things on Facebook, or we're just really speaking, trying to speak our truth, but it comes from a position of anger or it's from a position of frustration, what are we trying to do? We're trying to express ourselves and to kind of hold on to something that we found was familiar before. Someone who is more of the conservative bent would be like, I want things to be the way things were before. Or even if you're even a more liberal bent, I want things to change in a way that is more comfortable for me. And it's all within this construct of what's in the 3D world.
And coming at it from a place of fear or anger and just wanting to express yourself. Everybody has to do this at some point, but it's not exactly the most productive thing. It can cause a lot of bad feelings. It can create karma within your social circles. And there is a school of thought out there that the thing that you fight against, you also accept because you're accepting it enough to fight against it. So there is a better way to go about creating and being the change that you want to see in the world, rather than uh, trying to convince people who are not going to be convinced that your opinion is correct, telling someone they need to do something that they are obviously not going to do, no matter what you say.
Okay, very good. And so let's take a closer look at what the specific items on the chart is coming up with. Light energy discord. Light energy discord is what Robert Detzler describes as the individualized soul. We're all light energy, and that discord is intentionally placed within the light energy of each individual in order to individualize them. At least that's how Robert approached it. So this is your unique life path. The next item, unwillingness to let go of old beliefs. And that's what you were saying before, is that when you are holding on to your beliefs so strongly and you try to convince others that your old beliefs are the correct path, that creates karma with your friends, that creates karma with your neighbors, and it increases the discord, because when we have light energy discord, that individualized soul, what we want to actually to be able to achieve is light energy harmony.
Yeah, and with all the polarity that's out there, and it's getting greater, isn't it? Huge amounts of polarity, shifting, breaking apart people from one extreme to the other.
Yes. So and the last one here was working on goals. So what this is suggesting here, it's an active process of the letting go of the old beliefs, the recognition that the discord needs to be moved into harmony. This is an active thing. This is something you have to do consciously. This isn't something you're just going to let happen in the background. So now we move on to the Abraham-Hicks Emotional Scale chart. And the emotional scale chart talks about where we are energetically or vibrationally to manifest the results that we want to happen. In this particular case, what we want to have happen is the ability to change, to let go. And what came up was optimism, which actually is a good place to be. That is, in your subconscious, you are optimistic that things can change if I'm willing to make it change.
And also, optimism can be applied to knowing that whoever you're speaking to, even if they're coming at you with something that you don't agree in, or they're trying to tell you what to do, you can look at them and try and really understand where they're coming from, and their nature and why they're saying that, and the stuff that is coming up for them that is making them come at people and try and get people to look their way and understand and do what they're asking.
So now we're going to be turning over to the time temple charts. And we love the time temple charts, especially chart number 1, which is the dominant life pattern, because now we're going to take a close look at what am I doing and what do I need to bring in that's better or different. Okay, so the highest form within the dominant life pattern is the guide. The guide is someone who is leading by example to achieve some kind of goal. Or when we think about our spirit guides, these are spirits that are in a slightly higher vibration than ourselves, and they are giving us advice, and they're giving us guidance on how to be better, or how to let go of old karma or old beliefs. The dominant life pattern here is very interesting. It's military leader. Okay, and the color is indigo. And indigo indicates a great deal of karma accumulating, or at least a person's actions being guided by karma and not by their highest self.
Or by the ancestral line.
or by the ancestral line. So this is why before, and when we were talking about this, the need to seek new paradigms, we are in this fight or flight mentality right now as a society, where people are feeling as though they need to marshal their resources to get people on their side and to either hold on to beliefs and practices or ways of being from the past, or to try and push them into the future. And we know that both of those things don't work, because all it does is accumulate greater and greater amounts of karma. The highest, most creative life path is to be more like the Infinite Council. And the Infinite Council is a group of high-level beings who are more like the gardeners of creation. They plant the seeds and then just allow them to grow. So this is more of bringing in that divine feminine energy, just allowing things to evolve the way they need to evolve, and not having a whole lot of judgment onto that process. And the dominant life pattern is to be the alchemist / artificer, which I thought was very interesting, because here we're talking about embracing new technology, embracing new paradigms on how to live within fourth dimensional living, which is very different from third dimensional living.
We're seeing quite a few people coming up with a bunch of new stuff now. It's really interesting, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Like David Wilcock, he is working on hover cars and free energy.
Yeah.
And we were just looking at a company who makes affordable housing out in Las Vegas.
Right.
Called Boxable. And apparently Elon Musk has something to do with that one too.
Yes, he's actually, Elon Musk is actually living in a Boxable house right now.
But it's really interesting. There are some people out there who have the resources or the ability to get the resources, who are actually starting these more fourth dimensional technologies now. And they're going to be out in a few years. And wouldn't it be cool to not have to buy gas anymore? Or wouldn't it be cool to maybe one of these days have a Star Trek-esque replicator on your wall and just say, hey, I feel like having
tacos for dinner tonight.
Tacos for dinner. And there it is.
The tacos just show up. Yeah. And you may think this is all science fiction, but it's happening. It's being developed. David Wilcock's talking about this free energy thing. It's real. There have been many people who have been able to replicate this technology, and the government may not like it, or the oil companies may not like it, but it's part of that new paradigm. It's part of that being the artificer, to bring in technology, to bring energetics and magic together, and just create I won't say utopia, because fourth dimensional beings still have their own stuff to do, but it's going to be different.
They're making things, they're creating things that benefit all of humanity, the environment, and every being on this planet. And really, that's what it's about.
It is. And it's up to you, listener out there, to be a part of that. Nina and I are doing our part every day. At least we're trying to, through our meditation and just informing ourselves of what's out there, what's being developed, that is not mired in this political crap that's out there, and what feels right, what is expansive. And so whenever you're looking at a new piece of technology, or you have an idea for something that's just going to be really cool to raise the vibration of humanity, just check in for a moment and say, hey, does this make me feel expansive? Or is this making me feel kind of fearful? And then if it's making you expansive, go for it. Expand on that idea. Find out who else out there are working on very similar ideas, because the collective unconsciousness and the morphogenic field, and people are working on this stuff, and it's happening, and it's going to be free, and it's going to be wonderful. And so when we look at the news, we look at our old beliefs, and you're like, oh no, we have to protest, we have to fight for what was. Let that go. And instead, just expand into what can be and what will be if we all just have the collective will to do it. And so we're going to take a moment now, and we're going to bring these ideas of this clearing into your conscious awareness. So close your eyes if you can. Take a deep breath. And let's bring into our conscious awareness the letting go. First of all, the recognition of what we've been doing before is now no longer working for us. Holding on to ideas and paradigms of the past is part of the old way of thinking, the third dimensional way of thinking. And we're going to bring in our conscious awareness of all of the wonderful things that are going to result from this catalyst event that we are all experiencing. Recognizing that it has to be difficult before it can be better. We have to recognize a need before we can fill that need. And that you are an intricate part of making that happen. We bring this awareness not only into our present life, all the way from the moment we're born, all the way into the present moment, and all the way into the future. We do this also for every past life, every future life, every parallel life, so that every lifetime you have ever lived can benefit from the idea that the goal is expansion and joy and listening to your internal instruction. Take a moment to let that sink in and see the light that's all around you. I'll take a deep breath. Nice cleansing breath. And bring your attention back here in the now. And just feel all of that anxiety, all of that anger floating away. Doesn't that feel great? Now, if you're not exactly sure what exactly you need to be doing right now to help humanity move into this new age of light and wisdom and fantastic technology, go to vitalbioenergetics.com/book
online
and schedule your free 30-minute consult, and we'll talk about what you need to do. And then we'll do some sessions. to clear out those blocks that are preventing you from seeing that life path before you. And then you'll be on your way to living a fourth dimensional life. And I am so excited to share that journey with you. Thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next week. Thank you for listening to today's podcast. For more information about Bill and Nina G, please visit our website at www.vitalbioenergetics.com. See you next time.